So welcome back to another video in this little series with some tips and tricks for MxBikes, and in this video I'm going to focus on corners and kind of how to build up a flow and kind of flow through the corners. If you haven't already, I suggest go watch my earlier videos on cornering. Those videos will go through kind of the how we corner and kind of the technique and the basics of cornering, while in this video I will focus more on like getting a flow through the corner and being smooth. So the first thing we want to do is we want to find a somewhat easy corner or pair of corners. I personally like the turn track on MTF compound, or if I want more kind of ruts I usually do Flackwell, and I will link those videos in the description. What we want to begin by doing is we want to kind of roll through the corner like this, because you want to enter a corner with as much speed so that you can roll through the entire corner. That's kind of the amount of speed we are aiming for. So you just go through the track and just roll through the corners very smooth like this. And I want you to, in the beginning we want to be like excessively smooth, like we really want to like overdo the smoothness, just to like kind of just dig it into our brains in a way and just really get the technique down. And as we progress we want to start sitting down in the corners, and if you're uncomfortable with sitting down it's totally fine to just do this standing, but when you start to get comfortable standing, I want you to start to implement sitting down. You can start by just rolling through the corner and just sitting very late in the corner, if that's more comfortable. And then we want to start to progress to sit earlier and earlier in the corner. And we obviously don't want to sit too early in the corners, like we don't want to sit like very early, because that is like kind of wrong technique. So if you don't know where to sit, watch my other videos, I will go through that in those videos. So then what we want to do is we want to slowly just increase speed and just try to go faster, but we still want to roll the corners, and we don't want to do that like I just did. We want to be very smooth and follow the corner and just keep going faster. And once you kind of got in the speed so that you can roll through the entire corner, you can start to accelerate earlier and earlier in the corners. And I want you to be really smooth. You want to be excessively smooth on the throttle as well. So you can see when I'm coming into this corner, sitting down, just rolling on the throttle. And you can be in a higher gear as well. Like in this corner I can go in third to just help with being smooth, so you don't just get those really high RPMs in the beginning. So just having a gear higher kind of helps you to lower the RPMs and be smoother. But then once you get comfortable, start to accelerate a little bit earlier. You can see you can go a lower gear in the correct gear and just hit the corners normally. And what I hope you will see is that when you start to doing the corners like normally, you will just be smooth and just flow through the corners without really thinking. So when you got kind of the basics down and you have practiced the basics and you feel really comfortable, maybe you practice it for a week or whatever, how long it takes for you. When you feel comfortable, you can start to like go and send it a little bit more, be a little bit more intensive, and don't necessarily have to be as smooth. So you can just really send it in the corner. So what you will see is you probably start making some mistakes. You will not be as smooth, and that is kind of the point in a way, because now we want to start to kind of send it more and just go faster and just work on the raw speed. And then when you feel like you have done that, you worked on your speed for a while, then you go back to the basics again. First you work on the basics, then you work on the speed, and then when you come back to the basics, you will be faster. Then when you start pushing again, you will be more comfortable and you will go even faster. So it's kind of this back and forth between focusing on technique and flowing through the corners, and then just kind of sending it a little bit more. And then you just go back and forth between that. So it is really important that you build this base and the base technique, and then you can start to develop on that. So just make sure, roll through the corners to get the right speed, then just be smooth and progressively work towards like improving and getting higher speeds. I will link MTF turn track, which is a paid track sadly, but I just really love the turn tracks on that compound. It also has a motocross track and a supercross track and a amateur supercross track. And Flackwell is a free track. It's just some small ruts, but it's really nice to practice your rut technique and also corners in general. So yeah, that will be all for this video. If you have any questions, as usual, leave a comment or contact me through Discord. I really enjoy answering questions and just kind of interacting in general, so don't be afraid to ask questions. Follow my Instagram if you want to see some cool pictures.